some reason, this podcast does not want me to speak. I don't know what's going on. A second time technical issues, but we don't mind. We don't mind. It is game week 3, the final whistle, guys. Welcome back to the show. And as always, I am joined by a happy, upbeat Ben Pescard. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was going to be like that maybe half an hour ago, but here we are. Yeah, I'm kind of good at the international breaks coming up already because I feel like you're just kind of getting into the swing of things, and then this international break always really annoys me. But yeah, it's been a good weekend of football, and I mean, there's still some football to be played as well.
Yes, there is, and we're not going to keep an eye on that one, but it is Aston Villa and Crystal Palace who are the late kickoff before the international break, and Mark Gahey is playing, and I suspect his price might have rocketed a little given an injury to a certain centre-back for Liverpool. Let's go to Liverpool. Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0. Arsenal being done, conceding a goal, a set-piece goal, and yeah, talk to me about this one. What a strike by Szoboszlai. I feel like it just paved over all the cracks that we saw prior to that. You and I had a little chit-chat about this, but give me your thoughts about this, because I felt like the first half, it was really bad. I looked at Liverpool's XG, and it was 0.04, like no shots on target. Like that was the state of play at half-time.
Yeah, the first half was dreadful for both sides. I think Arsenal were the better team, but even then, I don't think they were creating much. They had a lot of the ball. But yeah, second half, I think Liverpool, I think we saw the difference between the mentality of the two teams. Arsenal were quite obviously happy for a draw, which in fairness, if you can get a point at Anfield, is never a bad thing, but you've got to make sure you get over the line, and Dominic Szoboszlai certainly had other ideas, so yeah, absolute screamer of a free kick from Szoboszlai, one that we played over many years, kind of reminds me of Gerrard or...
I'm so glad you went there.
Yeah, it's the first thing that I said when it went in. I said, that's
same,
Gerrard.
Absolutely same. I looked at it, that looks so far out, and I was watching it with my brother, and I said, Gerrard used to score them, didn't he? And he was like, yeah, and I just went, like shrug, the shoulders just slouched, and he did it, and it hit the woodwork. Oh, it was perfect. Rear dived, he missed it. It was just under him, clipped the woodwork and went in. It was just beautiful, wasn't it? Absolutely stunning. Like I was just gobsmacked.
Yeah, it was perfect. I think it's going to take some beating in the goal of the season contenders, to be honest. Proper throwback goal. You don't really see players just leathering the ball like that anymore. So yeah, brilliant to see, and he deserved it. I thought it was amazing against Newcastle, and I thought it was amazing today, filling in at right back. I think there's a lot of people who started to doubt what he brought to the team towards the end of last season, but I think he's really proved he's got everything that you could want. Yeah, and he deserved the winner. I thought it was brilliant. I thought there was a few players who, especially second half, stepped up. I thought Kyrgios was brilliant. Madueke is not an easy player to go against. And I think at times it kind of looked like Madueke was getting the better of him, but he really wasn't. And I thought Van Dijk was imperious again. I thought Konate was better. He's had a lot of stick. Yeah, got over the line. And I've just tweeted there on Twitter, Liverpool are 6 points ahead of Man City and 3 points ahead of Arsenal already. And they're only going to get better. I mean, this is the poorest we've seen Liverpool play in quite a while, and we're still top of the league and still points ahead of our rivals. So, yeah, it's exciting times.
It is exciting times, and you kind of touched on Konate there, and you spoke about some of the players, but I feel like a highlight, maybe a shout out needs to be given to certain Liverpool players, and certainly the ones that kind of got brought into the mix of things. I mean, Gomez came on, and I thought he was incredible. Got some real important clearances and blocks in, getting double hugs from the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. Jones coming in, I thought McAllister did really well in midfield, but you could tell he wasn't 100%. But just his presence in that midfield was huge for Liverpool in the first half. But I thought Jones had a really good game in the midfield. I felt like there was a bit more connection between the midfield and the attack, which was really, really missing in the first half. And you touched on Szoboszlai just being incredible at right back, but he was everywhere all over the pitch. I felt like as the game kind of progressed a little as well, I saw a little bit more Verts getting more into more dangerous positions as well. I do feel like we were knocking on the door for them for that goal. Like I felt like Liverpool was certainly better in the second half. Endo coming in as well. I know there's that mad stat about Endo. We don't lose when he comes on.
I loved his foul on Gyökeres at the time, and then I thought, oh, actually, they're putting everyone forward for it. And I thought maybe that wasn't the smartest idea, but we got through it. But yeah, I think in the first half we were crying out for a midfielder to just come get the ball, keep the ball, but also be a bit progressive with it. And that's exactly what Jones done when he came on. So yeah, I think the subs were a massive difference. And even Chiesa worked his socks off when he came on. Was unlucky with that chance. Maybe should have just passed to Salah. But yeah. You can't fault the effort, absolutely not. And people, we like to kind of take the mick out of Arsenal sometimes, but they're a really, really good team. And I think you'll come up against very few teams as good as them, to be honest.
Even they're so defensive as well, aren't they? I mean, let's not forget Saliba gets injured in 4 minutes. Mosquera has to come on. I'm probably thinking he's going to start in this game or feature in this game. Kind of gave me vibes of Adrian in the Super Cup. When Alisson got injured, and it was like you've been signed, right? Get on that pitch and you're playing the game. And and I thought he did really well. But yeah, shout out to Liverpool. Anything you kind of want to else kind of say about I feel like it's just deserts that they got done by set pieces. Well, I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, but you do it to everyone else. It was only fitting that the only goal you concede all season is a set piece. Where should we go to next? I know. Can we go to Manchester United? Because what? It's been pretty tough for them, right? So even if this game made me laugh, I watched it. I don't know what to say about Man United. We know what happened against Grimsby. A penalty seals it for Manchester United. The two, they go a goal up. I thought they should have been 2, 3, 4 up by half time. They had so many chances. They played so well in the first half. A few scares. They equalised to Burnley through Foster, I believe, and then Mbeumo comes up with a straight up response. And then it's 2-2, but it was a cliffhanger because it's a penalty that seals Man United's fate. So talk to me about this one. Mental stuff.
It was such a stupid foul giveaway as well for Burnley. I mean, Man United deserved the win. I know some people look at the scoreline. I mean, they shouldn't be in that position as Man United. And I thought the way Bruno and Dalot went on towards the end after they took the lead was a bit embarrassing, to be honest, but it's a big win for them. Regardless of who you're up against, they had to win that, because if they didn't win that, then that's at the point of where fans really do start to turn on Amorim. So for them, they'll be hoping to kind of kickstart their season. Cunha obviously went off injured, which isn't ideal for them. But yeah, I think the international breaks come at a good time for them, kind of get back on the training ground and kind of.
I can't lie, Ben. When that penalty was given, and we all know how Sesko didn't show up against Grimsby. Let's just say that the 10th taker. I would just be an absolute arsehole on that pitch. I'd be like, right, you're taking it. Like, this is what it means to play for Manchester United. Like, get up and take that penalty. That's just me, and I'm petty, and maybe just seeing how his mental resilience would hold up in that situation. But yeah, I think a huge 3 points for Man United, and Burnley, I thought they gave a good account of themselves. But yep, that's that. I think they are screaming for a goalkeeper, and I think they are being linked to Martinez, Manchester United. A bit silly to leave it so late, though, Ben, given the fact that they've been crying for one since last season. But here we are. Ooh, let's move on to another one. This one, Ben, I'm going to surprise you. Really, really surprised me, because Brighton were awful. Absolutely awful. Till James Milner gets that penalty and scores on. What a beautiful tribute to his friend Diogo Jota. But what happened here? Because City should have been 3-4 up again. Haaland was on it in the first half.
Yeah, they absolutely capitulated. It's exactly I said about last week, how they went back to the Man City of last season, and that last half hour, I mean, how can you go from how good and in control they were? It was more a matter of how many they were going to score more than anything, to then completely flip and lose the game. I'm sure the same thing happened to Brighton for them last season, where they were winning 1-0 and then it turned round. And I'm pretty sure Liverpool played later that day and beat Aston Villa. And that felt like a really big moment. And I think this is. I think people say, obviously, how early in the season we are kind of, it's hard to read too much of it, but it is. The points are the same no matter what point of the season you are. So it's a huge swing, 6 points ahead of them already. I mean, I don't think they'll be in a title challenge based on what we've seen. I think that Wolves game really did flatter them because of just how bad Wolves were. But you've got to give credit to Brighton. I mean, like we said, they looked pretty terrible until that does swing and they created their own luck, and then grew the scores and they worked the socks off. That's the one credit that you can give them. But yeah, it's worrying for Man City.
Second goal though, Ben, it went straight through the middle, didn't it? It was so easy to bypass Man City's midfield, which, like you said, was very similar to them last season. But yeah, it's very, very concerning stuff for Man City, and it does feel like much of a muchness for them. And before the goal as well, let's not forget Trafford produced a really, really quality save as well before they conceded the goal, which would be like half a minute later. So yeah, big things happening here. Right, let's go to our next big team, and we are gonna go to Spurs, who really impressed us this season at home against Bournemouth. It finished 1-0 to Bournemouth. What did you make of this one? Because Spurs had a fully attacking side. All their players were out. And when you actually go back and look at it, they had all the possession. Their XG was really low. And Bournemouth seemed to have done the damage quite early on. I think they got a goal fairly early. I think it was in 5 minutes, but then held their own, held their composure, but applied so much pressure with the little amount of possession that they had. The stats were just far more flattering in Bournemouth's favour, which is brilliant for them. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I checked the stats at half time and I don't think Tottenham had even had a shot. I don't think they'd had a shot or a corner or anything. And I think Bournemouth at that point had about 17. So it was mental. They seemed to be just getting played off the park, and it's so frustrating for them after the start of the season. They had obviously beaten Burnley convincingly and beaten Man City fairly convincingly as well. Again, maybe there's more problems to Man City than what we thought. Maybe that had something to do with that. But to lose at home to Bournemouth, I thought they would win this one, and I think Thomas Frank will be really kicking himself that they've lost that one, because your home games against teams like that, they're going to come and play like Bournemouth do. You've got to pick up points in them if you're going to be high up in the table at the end of the season. But you've got Xavi Simons coming in, who should give them that kind of creativity that they really lacked yesterday. And obviously you've got Kulusevski and Maddison both still injured. So there is some kind of reasons behind it. But yeah, it's not ideal for them.
It's not. And I think shout out to Xavi Simons for making the right decision for coming to Spurs rather than being a jumble sale player at Chelsea FC. And speaking of Chelsea, let's go there. This was the early kickoff. It was 12:30. So Chelsea 2, Fulham 0. Really interesting, this one, because if my memory serves me correctly, Fulham beat them last season. Was it on Boxing Day? That was when the whole title charge kind of ended for Chelsea, if my memory serves me correctly. So this one ended up in Chelsea's favour. Delap gets injured quite early on, which obviously is a big concern. I think the side story from this that made me laugh was Jackson was en route to Munich, and he got told to come back because he needs to fill in for 6 weeks. That whole thing. His agent put out a tweet saying, "We don't go backwards. The plane never goes back," or something. My sister read it to me. I just found it hilarious. But there's a lot of controversy in this game. You know, like, I want to start off with the goal that was disallowed for Fulham. And it got me so angry because where is he meant to put his foot after that turn? He wasn't even looking to stand on his feet. He wasn't looking to plant his feet. It just so happened by accident. Things happen. It's a contact sport. That really triggered me. And then the build-up for their, you know, the penalty, you know, was Bassi, you know, was Bassi, was he fouled? You know, there was Sessegnon handball, which was definitely a handball, and then the Jean Pedro handball and foul. There was just so much going on before it was chaotic. I think that's how I can say it.
I mean, just on that first decision, the decision to rule Fulham's goal out. If anything, the Chelsea defender, I think it's Chalobah, is the one who's late to the ball. He's been beat to the ball by the striker, I just don't see how you can rule out a goal for someone standing on someone's foot while turning on the ball. Like, if that's the point where football's got to, you can't even accidentally stand on someone's toe, then I think the game, I know that it's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but the game is on the way to being gone at that point. Yeah, and I saw Marco Silva's interview after the game, and I don't blame him for being angry at all. I don't think Chelsea were great at all. I thought Fulham worked hard, but yeah, I think a decision like that just changes the complexity of the whole game, and yeah, it's a real kick in the teeth. But Fulham do look solid this season. They haven't really signed anyone, but they haven't lost anyone as well. So I think they'll be fine as well.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine as well. And yeah, I think the whole talk was about Muniz, wasn't it? And it looks like they should be able to keep him by what I'm understanding. But yeah, let's go to the 5:30.
Do we have to?
Sorry, they're a big team. We've got to go there. Leeds, huge point for them, by the way, and to keep a clean sheet as well in the disappointment against Newcastle last weekend. Against Arsenal, sorry, and obviously 0-0 against Newcastle this game week. It was really bad. I think that's all I'll say on this game. What did you make of this? One shot on target by Leeds.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
2 shots on target by Newcastle, but they don't have a striker.
Yeah, I mean, I might be missing something on this, so if I am, I do apologise. But you know, they complain about a lack of attackers and they have Elanga and Barnes on the bench. I didn't quite understand that. But yeah, I think Newcastle were the better team, and I think that's where the frustration's really coming with this Isak situation, because I think that's 3 games now. Even as Liverpool fans, we can admit that with Isak in their team, they get something off of someone. They probably beat Villa on the opening day, and they probably win last night as well. So yeah, it's been a really awkward start of the season for them. But again, you kind of feel for them with the way Isak's gone on in this whole situation. But also the amount that he's been injured in the past year, you know, you'd think they'd kind of learn to play without him. You can't, like, your whole team can't just stop functioning because one player's out. But yeah, it's a solid point for Leeds, a really good point against a team that's going to be in amongst the European places by the end of the season.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I'm really, really happy about, you know, some of the newly promoted sides and what they're putting in. And even, you know, Burnley, who did lose, I thought did pretty well against Man United. There was a bit of fight and resilience about them. Speaking of new promoted sides, you know what, Sunderland might be my new Ipswich side of the season. I really, 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 really want them to stay up. Jordan Henson homecoming, probably a lot bitter than sweet. Obviously, Kelleher has a bit of a howler as well towards the end. 2-1 to Sunderland, though. That is huge. And I felt like there's been a lot of talk with pundits and just narratives in general. And your home form has to be pretty decent. And this is 2 wins now for Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Talk to me about Sunderland, their chances. And also, I like the fact that they're quite direct in terms of their play. Like, you know, it's just a case of just getting it to the front men. You know, just, you know... Yeah. Let's not play this fancy football because we're in the champions, you know, in the Premiership. Let's just do what we're good at. And it's quite scary as a prospect. And the winner coming in, people call it garbage time, but the 96-minute winner, I mean, that's just epic. And the Stadium of Light, I mean, those fans, incredible for them. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a really fascinating way of playing, because there's kind of no in-between with newly promoted teams. More recently with the likes of Southampton, we've seen them trying to play too much football, but I think Sunderland have this perfect balance of they can play football, they have the players to play football, and the manager sets them up really well. But then they can also go direct to when Isidore comes on. That's twice now he's come on and scored. I think a draw would have been a fair result. I think Brentford did put in quite a bit of a shift, but I do worry for them a little bit.
I've got them down as a away team. I've got them down.
Yeah. I don't think anyone will look forward to going to the Stadium of Light, though, at all. It is rocking at the minute. And like I said, they've got that perfect balance of making it uncomfortable for you, but also they do have the quality going forward to threaten you as well. I mean, to be 1-0 down with, I think it was 10 minutes left to turn it around, that's kind of the resilience that you really need to have in the Premier League. So yeah, it's a huge win, and to beat a team that's going to be down there with them is huge as well. To obviously beat West Ham. But yeah, it's a huge 3 points, and you've got to win them games at home if you want to stay up, because kind of teams like Brentford who are going to come and try and play, that is where you've got to pick up your 3 points. So it's a crucial win for them.
And it's little things like obviously Sharda had a penalty and it was saved by the keeper. Those things are huge for a newly promoted. Like that is like season defining almost when they look back. You know, those things that, you know, really did make the difference. But you know, it's just incredible, and it's a lovely story, and I'm more and more fascinated as hopefully the season progresses. But shout out to them. Speaking of teams that are in a little bit of trouble, Wolves 2, Everton 3, Grealish 2 assists again, Dewsbury Hall getting a goal and assist as well. Those loanee signings are really making a difference in terms of the attack of Everton, because they have been so blunt for so many seasons, and we've always highlighted it, certainly when we've been doing this show. I mean, what did you make of both teams? I just feel like there's a team that just looks like they're on their last legs.
Yeah, Everton impressed me. They really have added that attacking quality that they've been missing for so long. And obviously you've got Grealish and you've got Dewsbury Hall playing behind the striker and Ndiaye. And obviously now they've got 2 options up front with Barry and Beto, and you've even got the likes of Alcaraz and McNeil who haven't played much. So they're definitely stronger, and they're going to be strong at the back as well. So I think they'll be a really hard team to play against this season. But Wolves look so bad. Like really bad.
Really bad. Yep.
Yeah, it's really worrying for them. I think they concede 3 at home to Everton. I know they've improved their attacking, but to concede 3 at home to Everton is some doing.
It is. What do you make of Jack Grealish? Because I feel like he's getting a lot of love from the Evertonians, from his manager as well. And I just feel like this is, obviously you don't get that kind of love at Man City. You know, you're amongst world-class players. There's an expectation, a huge expectation. And I guess because you're such this quality player, you're almost like the superstar in that dressing room. I mean, yeah. I think Grealish has got enough to hold on to that, because we played at Villa as well. I think he's thriving at Everton. I think that kind of team or that kind of dressing room is going to be really beneficial for him. Those are my thoughts anyway.
Yeah, there's some players who just thrive being, don't take this the wrong way, Everton, but like the big fish in the small pond. Not that Everton's a small club or anything, that's not what I'm saying, but in comparison to Man City's quality of players, and he was the same at Villa, of that kind of player that is going to pick up the ball and drive them forward and kind of do what he wants to do as well. I feel like Pep kind of took all the natural kind of intuitions of him out of him completely and kind of turned him into a robot, which everything that's good about Grealish is the complete opposite of that. Do you know what it is? I'm happy to see him doing well, because, you know, he seems like a really nice guy, and he's fun to watch as well. And I feel like he's just one of those players who needs to enjoy his football, and you'll get the rewards out of it. And that seems to be what he's doing at Everton. So for him, I hope he does well there, but not too well.
Yeah, not too well, and certainly not against a certain Merseyside side. But yeah, completely agree with you on that one. The last one, I watched the Brighton game, but this one was basically the battle of which manager is gonna wreck it. And I thought Forest were gonna get the upper hand here because of the players, the class. I just felt like West Ham were in more of a horrible lull period, in my opinion. 3-0, I think they've shocked us all. The fact that they've scored, goals and they've kept a clean sheet. Nuno giving out cryptic messages again. I saw a little something on BBC, his post-match interview, saying, I think I've made the decision a lot easier. And he's talking like somebody, or he's behaving like somebody who, you know, when you hand you notice in at work and you can't be asked.
Yeah. It's such a weird situation, because on the face of it, he's done such a brilliant job, but obviously something's happened behind the scenes that's really wound him up. And with that owner, it definitely has, because I don't doubt for one second that he's done something to annoy him. But yeah, from what I saw anyway, Forest looked like the better team and were just punished in the end. You know, Bowen and Paqueta were obviously always West Ham's two danger men, and that's what kind of killed them off in the end. Then Wilson gets another goal. It was interesting to see Paqueta kiss the badge after scoring and doing that celebration. Obviously, he's been linked with a move to Aston Villa. I mean, if they let him go, I just don't see any sense in it, especially for the kind of £30 million fee that's being thrown around. I just don't see what good comes out of selling him, but it looks like he's going to stay, so that's huge for West Ham, and that win's huge for Graham Potter as well, because he was really clinging on to his job, and now he's kind of to take that win in the international break, where if you're going to get sacked, it's more than likely going to be in that international break. I think it's huge for him. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Nuno. Maybe we see Mourinho back at Forest after he got sacked during the week.
Yeah, and so did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from the Turkish league as well. Not a good week for ex-Manchester United managers, let's just say. I think that one's been talked up a bit though, hasn't it? Jose Mourinho to Nottingham Forest, because that's what does the toxic corner need, a bit of a toxic manager. Yeah.
But I was surprised by that result. I thought, to be honest, looking at all the fixtures this weekend, I thought that was a nailed-on Forest win.
Yeah.
You know, that's all against a West Ham team that couldn't stop anything, any form of attack they were getting done by. But yeah, clean sheet, scored 3. They might not have deserved it on the face of it, but they got it. So that's a huge, huge win for them.
It is. Ben, we've come to the end of the show, but before I let you go and before we do plugs and whatnot, are you interested in Burnley's XG against? I mean, given the fact that they would play pretty well against Man United, but they was the one to watch. Can you guess it?
I'm trying to think that the goals that they scored were quite high XG, weren't they? I mean, they were both quite simple goals. I'll go 1.7.
Oh, you're generous. It's 1.20.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I just saw, because considering one of the goals was literally from about 2 yards out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so that apparently that was their XG. But yeah, compared to United's 3.54, I do think they do create a lot of chances. It's just the conversion that's the problem with Man United at the moment. But yeah. Anyway, Ben, we have come to the end of game week 3. That brings us nicely into the international break. No more injuries. I'm a little bit concerned. And obviously, we're going to tie up the transfer as well, the transfer window. I mean, as a Liverpool fan, because I think the cat is out the bag. Everyone knows we're Liverpool supporters. If one gets over the line, I'm going to put you on the spot. One gets over the line, Guehi or Isak?
I think it's more likely that Guehi gets done at the minute. I don't know why. I've got this in my head. I'm just kind of waiting around to do this Isak deal. It's kind of not worrying me, because I think the chances are we get done. But then again, looking at the way Glasner's talking about Guehi, he seems so adamant that he's not going. So it'll be interesting. But I think if I had to lean, with Kanai getting injured, I think if I had to lean towards one, it'll be Guehi's probably more likely at the minute.
Yeah, with a couple of million added to his price tag now,
yeah.
I just get so angry. We should have paid it out before and then been done with it. Yeah, I think this might bite us on the backside. But speaking of which, this is the end of game week 3. As you all know, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace are playing a game of football, which we're not going to look at or address. But guys, that's us. That's the end of the show. And before I let you go, what's coming from your end? International break. What are you doing?
I've actually got quite a few kind of interviews lined up this week, which is interesting. Liverpool fans I'm interviewing John Aldridge tomorrow, so Liverpool fans, that'll be a good one to read. There'll be articles on that. And perhaps Emil Heskey later in the week as well, I think. So that's another one that'll be on Anfield Index. And then EPL Index, I'm interviewing Nigel Winterburn later this week as well. So former Arsenal defender. So there'll be plenty of stuff. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Did
you not have Nigel Winterburn last week?
I did. The last 2 weeks I've had Nigel Winterburn.
See, I pay attention. Good host. But yeah, look at you rubbing shoulders with the big wigs, Emil Heskey, John Aldridge, you know, who are those little people? But do check out Ben's work. It's going to be excellent. I'm going to have a little quiet international break, just focusing on editing and all that stuff. I did have a Euro podcast with Guy Drinkle reacting to the draw. It's going to get really busy for the Reds after the international break. But guys, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Till next time, we'll catch you hopefully on Game Week 4 after international break. Take care.